how you doing?
Mark?
Good.
Colors and it's like I think
gets
I'm
that
all
big
the way out of here.
He gets that
right away by all that knowledge.
How you doing? Who's that, Derek? Well, good.
All I did was stretch my cabinet.
Well, we are Facebook Live, and we are live broadcasted on Green Network. If you guys want to watch it on Green, it's learnfromgreen.com/calendar. And go down to the Wednesday, click on Wednesday, and you can actually watch it from there. A lot of people say that they can't hear my Facebook Live. Well, they can get on the Green Network. You close enough there?
I'm trying. How you doing?
No, I didn't know if I shaved, so don't be too close. Back up with the camera. Anyway, we have about another minute to go. I think I turned the bell off. But hello again. Hi, Kathy. How you doing? All right, you all excited from last night's workshop there? I got some good stuff for you for later on.
Okay, good.
I already have all those things in the works we talked about with the giving people some education and some like 10 things. I was on with Michelle Moore.
Oh, I love that.
But you should have been on with Michelle Moore today. At least watch her. And also, you should get on to watch the rerun, Sharon Restrepo's class this morning. Both of those girls are just fabulous in their education. And Sharon talked about the auction process in Florida, which is similar but a little bit different than what we do up here. And that's we want to get teachers from every state because every state has different laws about the auctions and everything we do. So these are things that you can watch as reruns for members. Hey, let's wait for a few more guys to come rolling in. How you doing, sir?
How are you?
Wonderful.
All right.
Wonderful.
Hey, how are you? Sorry.
Nice tie. I should be wearing my tie, but you know, Irina? My tie. Is Derek here yet, or you don't know where he is? Oh, that Derek. Oh, okay. I thought our other Derek. All right. Well, anyway, thank you for coming to Green again. Welcome again to another wonderful week of Green. We have a terrific speaker tonight. She's our blogger, world-class blogger. A lot of major newspapers she's in, and she'll go over some of that with you. Does 2 or 3 blogs with us a month. Terrific stuff if anybody here likes to read. One of these days I'm going to have all her stuff put on the MP3 so we can listen to it in the car, which would be fabulous information for all of us coming up. So look forward to that coming up shortly. Couple new faces in here. I like to go around real quick. You guys know these guys, Tom and our resident speaker here for all things mortgage, Larry Cox. Dennis is in the house for cryptocurrency, and of course Lloyd here. Lloyd's a machine in our wholesale boot camp group. I mean, he's out there killing it on the knocking on doors circuit. And if you guys are members, we sit right here every Tuesday and hardcore boot camp. Kathy joined us the other day with her husband, and it's exciting. I mean, it's hard. You were role playing with people, and they all jumped in to help you. And they're all competition. In any other group, they'd be your competition, but they all try to help you to get your spiel down about talking to people. That's what we do here at Green. We don't fight for deals. we join each other in and, work together as a team. There he is, another guy from the boot camp last night. Anyway, we have two new people here that I met in California. They're kids that once saw our group before, but again, tell us who you are, and we know how you found us, but why? What are you looking for in education or business? What do you want?
A little bit of both.
A lot of both.
Yeah.
You'll get it. Well, introduce yourselves.
My name is Jeff Travis. This is my wife Crystal, and moved here from Colorado about a year ago, and bought a couple properties recently and renovating them, and just gonna step our game up a little bit and keep plugging away.
Now you live at Center Lake.
Center Hill, yep.
Center Hill Lake, which is 60, 70 miles that way, east.
Somewhere, yeah.
And hopefully we'll get them to start a group out there, and because it's a feeder a feeder village to the big Nashville town. We would love to tie it in. It'll be fabulous. In the back, sir.
Hey everybody, I'm Derek Earls. I met Mark and Arena and a lot of other folks in Anaheim this year, so I'm here at the invitation of Arena. And glad to be here. I'm wrapping up a 25-year career with the U.S. Army, and I'm taking that skill set and parlaying it into a professional speaking business as well as a business development. And my business is called Wedding on Vets, where I assist veterans with finding the right place to land when they exit the military. Glad to be here. I'm looking forward to learn about what you know.
Thank you for your service. I stopped at the VA, landing site over there on 12th Avenue South to try to speak to someone about how we can integrate the green education to those to those men over there and women who get out of the service looking for a job, looking for something. I told them we could help them more than just about anybody. We give more than a job. We teach people how to start their own career.
Right.
And it's not only real estate. There's a million facets of wholesaling,
Right.
knocking on doors, doing mortgages, doing repair work. There's a wide, when people come in here and they tell us they're wholesalers, I stop them and say, let's narrow it down to one small slice because nobody can do it all. I would love to talk to you later on about teaming up. It'll be fabulous. Somebody's sitting in the back over there. You're brand new. What do you do?
I'm a licensed money officer.
Come on out in front here. You don't have to hide back there where the food is. No, that's all right. I know you want to eat. That's why half of them came. That's why we cook. That's it. That's why Lloyd comes. he don't like to come on Tuesday because nobody feeds him.
Nobody's cooking.
Go ahead, Nick.
I'm an executive licensed lending officer with Home Depot. We do mortgages, personal loans, home equity loans. All those types of things.
He is a master phone caller.
Yeah,
How many phone calls do you make a week?
probably like 500.
There you go. Now that's, you talk about making 20 or 30 visits to houses, 500 phone calls a week. Now, how many closings do you have a month?
About 30, 40.
No. Yeah, that's what it takes. You want to do 30 closing houses?
Yes.
You got to make those 500 phone calls. I'm sorry to pick you out, but I know what you do. And that's my voice is shot from talking. I'm sure yours gets that way too. Ma'am, who are you? What are you doing?
Hi, I'm Donna Berry, and I got a special invite from a girl I recently met at Dunkin' Donuts by the name of Stephanie. So,
Stephanie hangs there all the time, just giving out invites to come here.
no, we just love coffee. That's just the way it is. But anyhow, so yeah, I've been doing sales for decades, and I do have a real estate license. It's currently into retirement, and looking to do some other things.
There's a lot to do besides having an active license, and stay in the field.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're not new, but go ahead, say it again. What are you doing?
My name's Austin. I work in town as a licensed agent. So I help people and investors find flips. And then, so we're buying and selling flips through a brokerage. We double close.
What do you got now?
Well, just a lot
What
in
beer?
Northeast Nashville.
Come up here, tell us what you got.
It's an R6 lot, and
Wait till you get here. Wait till you get here.
okay, so I've had this lot for about 5 days now. It's got a survey drawn, it's got plans written up, it's ready to go. There's a house on the lot that's vacant. The developer that sent it to me, they've got 27 projects going right now, and they want to cash flow a little bit after this. So if you've never been in the new build game, this is an excellent opportunity for basically stepping in and providing the capital to ready to go. So it's a fun play. Northeast Nashville in the Buchanan Arts District off of 15th Avenue.
How much?
169.
Your name, phone number? Let's go. You gotta get some deals here.
My name's Austin, and you can talk to me afterwards.
So this is a lot, you can build two buildings?
Mm-hmm.
You're underpriced.
On 15th,
Yeah.
No.
it's right in there.
Right in there. It's right under 25%. I was like,
Well, I'll tell you, I'll sell it to you for $5,000 more if you're happy.
Is that
I'll buy it right
that
now.
much worse than my 9,000?
Yeah, 15th Murder Road.
oh, hang on. There's 3 lots that are HPRs on it. There's 2 new builds and 5 rehabs.
Yeah,
So
but
you
it's
tell
not-
me
it's not
people
like that.
are killing it out there. Is what it is.
But he's got one on 9th. The 9th is,
I'm selling it tomorrow for
200.
200,000.
yeah, it's a different game on 9th.
Just
It
off
is.
the road, I guess.
But I mean, 15th is,
No.
he's right in there.
You're right in
It's
there.
gonna work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you have a contractor set up there, or do we need our own contract?
They have a builder that will build it. Yes. The guys that brought it to me said they could get it done. They just want to cash flow
Right.
a little out.
All right, because we got John who's in here as a builder, but if
Yeah.
you have one,
Of
that's,
the plans are drawn, the survey is ready. It's ready.
all right, good deal. And what do you need to build it? How much?
He's just trying to sell it. He's not.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
well, if do you know?
I mean,
You don't have to
Depends on what
know.
you're gonna build.
yeah.
Oh, I mean, what everybody else is
You're
building.
looking at about a 375 ARV for each house.
Okay.
So about 750, like total ARV.
Okay.
Most of my builders are looking at 23 to 25%, like pretty close in there for the new builds prices for a lot. So 25% of after repair value.
There you go. Marina, you got money? Oh, I thought you stood up for something. I thought you wanted to put in the $750,000. Russian princess, she has all kinds of cash. Anyway, let's wait for Lloyd to get back in. You missed the deal of the day. Anybody else have a deal? Anybody else have any deals that you want to share? No? All right, well, let's get to our speaker. She is anxiously waiting for a chance to speak. Barbara Ballinger, I gave you her rundown. Doc, maybe you want to jump on for a few seconds and introduce our guest speaker for today and the topic. So I'll turn it over to Andrea Molinari. Thanks, Doc.
I'm going to keep this short and sweet, but I think the thing about Barbara is she's a writer's writer. She's what writers like myself want to grow up to be someday. Her resume is amazing. I think it's 16 books that she's written. She's written for the Chicago Tribune, the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. She speaks for the National Association of Realtors, Realtor.com. She writes. I love working with her. She does 3 blogs a month, and I'm hoping someday to up that to 4 blogs a month for us. I always look forward to reading and editing her work because I know it's going to be interesting, and it always is. Last Friday, for example, she was talking about the use of technology, airplanes mounting cameras and taking pictures of various neighborhoods, and be able to use that for realtors and for investors to be able to get a better sense of the placement of their properties and the surrounding areas. This Friday will be no different. It's going to be an interesting article dealing with the rise of the use of the color black, believe it or not, in home decor, and how that's being used by fix and flippers and interior designers and that sort of thing, and how that's kind of the next big thing, basically. Anyway, without further ado, Barbara's going to be speaking tonight on doing Airbnb and using your own property, whether it be your own house or a rental property, and doing Airbnb with that. So I'm going to be handing it over to her, and thank you very much, Barbara.
Thank you for having me, and I look forward to your questions. So you can all see the PowerPoint, is that correct? Okay. I'm gonna just start briefly. I first heard when we say Airbnb, we're gonna lump in every type of online site, whether it's VRBO, HomeAway, trading homes, which people now do also, or properties. I first learned about this as a way for people to make money from their real estate, whether they were investors or homeowners, because of friends would go on vacation, and rather than stay in a hotel and rent out 4 different rooms, they'd rent out a house, and then they'd get a kitchen, and they'd get a garden maybe, or they'd get an apartment and balcony. And then I started hearing about homeowners do it, as many of you have heard. And then we started hearing about so many people doing it that many cities and villages started complaining. So I'm just sort of trying to set the background. And I live in a little village in upstate New York, where even in my little village of 7,000 people in the town and the outlining area, or about 2,000 or 3,000 in the village, it's a very walkable village. We had a town meeting several months ago because there's a lot of, not a lot, but there are people who are upset, namely the major hotel and a few of the B&Bs say, no, homeowners are doing this. One company has moved in or fixing up these old houses in our town and then trying to rent them. And the fear is that you have strangers in your neighborhood and that the texture of the community changes because you have more transient and who's next door. Yet, it's a great opportunity to draw some money. So again, I tried to find a number. I couldn't find a figure on how many people it is who are buying up homes to rent out as part of the sharing economy. But we know it's a multi-billion-dollar annual business. And again, the 2 niches, and they don't have to be exclusive, can be homeowners who do this to earn extra income to supplant their main jobs, or if they're retired, or if they're out of work, or they want to go on a great posh vacation. Why not draw some money from their home rather than take out a loan or ratchet up their credit card debt? So homeowners are doing this, and sometimes they're staying in the home while they have people in another bedroom. Some people may think that's strange. Some people love playing Bob Newhart, if you're old enough like I am, to remember when he and Suzanne Plachette were a cute couple on TV with their innkeeping. Other people are investors who make a full-time business out of buying up properties as investment income, fixing it up, furnishing it, maybe a lot, maybe minimal, never residing in their home, or sometimes you get both situations. So, what do you need to know to start? If you're a homeowner, decide if you like the idea of having strangers stay in your home. Not everybody does. I've heard people say, oh my gosh, I can't imagine that. Someone sleeping on a mattress that I might sleep on, or friends. Number two, this is very important for you, whether you're a homeowner or an investor. Know if your town, city, or building permits strangers staying, whether they permit us limited to a certain number. There are houses in my community where people have done horrors, had parties, and too many cars in the driveway, on the street. My mother was 98, I will add. She's not having anybody stay, but she lives in a building in Manhattan. She owns her apartment. In her building, you're not allowed to do it. So there's no discussion about how many, how few, how great you stock the refrigerator. It's just a no-no. And there are many buildings in New York City, San Francisco, and other places that are setting more stringent requirements, such as you can't do it for more than 3 months, or maybe you have to rent to the same person for 3 months. So it's important to go to your local building authority, whoever that is, and find out what are the rules, find out also if they're changing. Next, know if your house insurance policy adequately covers damage to your property and possessions. Know if you need special liability. Know if you have to have special coverage for breakables. Whatever it is, it's worth the phone call. First of all, to say, am I allowed to do this, conduct this as a business? And what do you need to know? It's worth that phone call. It's worth getting it in writing also as backup. Number 4, decide, as I mentioned, do you want to remain on site when guests come, or do you prefer to vacate if you're a homeowner or perhaps sometimes an investor? And that's such a personal question. Some people love the idea of lots of people around. Others, as I've mentioned, think, I can't imagine it. And nowadays you can also get devices. I don't know. I guess you'd have to check with a lawyer. Are you allowed? You can have Nest thermometer also has a camera. Some people call it the nanny cam, so people could check out if their help was taking care of the kids. So I would check out what you're allowed to photograph and not take pictures of. Next is, it's very important whether you're an investor or whether you're a homeowner to do what I call test driving your accommodations to be sure guests will find them comfortable in any case. And this, this is great to do even if you have friends coming for the holiday. Stay in that guest room. Is the mattress really comfy? It's a good idea to get a new mattress if you're trying to put up people overnight. Check out that there's a night table. Check out that the lighting is good. Maybe buy some fun magazines, a book, perhaps a water pitcher, comfy carpet. Be sure that there are hangers or good closet space for people to hang up their belongings rather than dump them on the ground or have a luggage rack. And you want to do the same, not just with the bedroom where they're going to sleep, but all the rooms in the house or apartment. For example, the kitchen. If you want them to be able to cook, are there pots and pans? Is there room in the fridge? Is the refrigerator being cleaned out? Does the place smell nice? Did you put away stuff if you live there, or even if you're an investor, did you tidy up so there are not 10 pairs of shoes in the foyer the way there always are in my foyer, for example? Check out the living room. Is the seating comfortable, etc.? Is there some good music? Do you have a working Wi-Fi system? I hear again and again from the multifamily buildings I write about often, that the most important thing that renters, especially high-end renters, want these days is really good Wi-Fi throughout, and that's a good bandwidth. So, go around your house and really be an inspector, maybe pretend like you're buying the place. Next is, how do you know what the right decor is? Well, decor runs from the super traditional to the super contemporary. There's no single look-in style. As we know, things change. But you can get an idea of trying to make it a little cool and hip by looking at pictures of guest rooms on sites such as House. I don't know if most of you are familiar. It's a wonderful place to gather ideas. You can either gather names of designers, and these days House has the extra you can buy. You like that chandelier? Go on House and you can probably find out how much it costs and where to buy it. Go on Remodelista, is a great site for remodeling. Go on, different designer sites. See what's in. So, know how many pillows to put on that bed, or know that most people like to have a large flat screen in the bedroom or a living space. You need to decide on a price, what you're going to charge per night, per week, per month, however you're going to rent it out. And you may want to vary that amount in different seasons. Like you may be able, obviously, if you're in a ski area, to raise it during ski season. If you're in a beach community, raise it during, and then likewise, lower it at different times. You see business sort of slacks off a little, lower the price a little, and on most of the sites, it's very easy to make these changes. Also, you want to set the number of guests that are allowed, that you have room for in your house. You probably want to charge a housekeeping fee of, let's say, $100 to clean the place before the guests come or after the guests or both times. And you can usually work this into the price you charge. Taxes, in my community, for example, in the area, there is an occupancy tax that people who rent out their property must pay. So you might want to work this into your fee. And any other fees. You also will want to do a refundable damage deposit. You decide that. You have lots of valuables, maybe 500, maybe 1,000, maybe more. Somebody wants to bring their pet. You usually don't want to have pets. Maybe charge a little more because you may have to clean the place a little bit more. This is all your pricing strategy. You probably will ask me, how do you come up with a figure? You're not the Ritz or the Four Seasons yet in most cases. It's not that hard. You can go online and look at other rentals in your area and see what they're charging. A 4-bedroom comparable to yours? Okay, maybe you want to price it a little bit less. Maybe you want to be a little more discretionary and price it a little bit higher. Play around with the numbers. Try it and see how it works out. People will say also, how do you know who you're getting in your home? I'm a reporter. I know how to ask questions. I know how to be really nosy. I think it's great to find out the profession. You don't want to discriminate, first of all, but you might want to find out, why are you coming to my house in the area? They say they're coming for a wedding, a graduation. That sounds really nice. Gee, I'd like to have them in and have them have a good time. They're maybe coming for some other reasons you don't like. You can say no. It's okay. They're bringing their 2-year-old twins and you're terrified they're going to break stuff. Then maybe you say, I'm sorry. If you don't come with the kids, it's fine. You're allowed to set the rules as long as you don't discriminate. You're going to need to write a profile of your house, your town, your amenities and location in words and photos to attract people. Nobody's going to come without it. I equate this to online dating. If any of you sitting there, have any of you done online dating? Raise your hands. You're all happily married, or you don't like to date at all? Anyway, I was divorced and I went online to date initially. And it's very similar. You want to make your home as enticing as you make yourself. You don't want to shade the truth at all. You want to tell about your house. It's brand new, like this gorgeous house Andrea found for me. It has a garage so people can park inside and not worry about packages or whatever. You tell about your town. You're in, let's say, my community. We've got great restaurants because the Culinary Institute of America is nearby. The house doesn't have a swimming pool, but there's a community pool you can use. Play it up, stress what's really great. In my community, there's a sheep and wool festival every year. So you knitters will definitely want to come to my town in the fall. Leaves change glorious colors. But yet, we don't really have great skiing right in my town. If you want to drive an hour, I can probably find you a slope if I'm the owner. And that's what you want to do. You want to help people. You want to entice them, but guide them. And you want to tell them your favorite restaurants, your favorite bookstore, whatever. So you write a profile. You don't want to make it a book. Like I could probably write it and make it a book. You don't want to do that because you want people to read it and move on. You're going to capture them, get them in those first few minutes. Then you want to decide, as I said, if you want to protect your home, whether it's an investment or your own home. So decide. You can give guests a key and an alarm code, or they can use an app to let them enter. Or maybe you don't care. Maybe you just say, I'll meet you there, and then I'll be there when you leave. These are all decisions you can make, and you can change them over the course of time. That's the fun of this. As I say, you get to play innkeeper and decide if you like it. Decide if you'll be there to greet them and say goodbye. Or some people these days are hiring a property manager, especially if they're investors who are in a different city, or if they're managing multiple properties, or if they just don't want to be bothered with strangers. There are all sorts of ways you can do it. If you accept a reservation, it's good to mark it on your calendar as booked to alert others who might want to stay so they don't try and sign up, take their time, and get annoyed at you for not having done this. It's amazing what people who rent homes today get annoyed about. Again, whether it's an investor property or homeowner, people take this all very personal. My goodness, you didn't empty out your refrigerator. You didn't tell me that you wanted me to come by noon. These are all important details to cover. Find out if your area, as I mentioned before, requires you to pay a percentage for an occupancy tax. That's a quick call to your county or your own village. It's easy to find that out, but it's important. Check with your financial advisor also, because this is an extra plus, which is nice. You may be able to deduct the paint job you did in your living room because it was looking a little less than perfect, or you may be able to depreciate that wonderful Sub-Zero refrigerator you put in the kitchen before you file your tax return. So you may have to, especially the first year, unless you're really good with numbers and doing your own tax return and know how to do this, you may have to pay a little bit more that first year or so to get it all in shape. But usually you'll find after a while that it runs pretty smoothly. Add in niceties to make your listing appeal much more than Joe's down the street. Put the house rules in writing so there's no disagreement afterwards. When they spill red wine on your beautiful white stair carpeting, you can say, "Didn't you see? There's no red wine drinking except in my dining room and kitchen." You can vet guests, as I said, by different rules. No kids, under 6, no dogs. You also want to be a good neighbor. You may want to tell your neighbors that you're doing this. You may not. They may figure it out if there are 5 new cars in the driveway all the time. But make your decisions. Extras make the guest stay special. You may want to leave a bottle of wine and a lovely note with all the amenities in the area. You may want to print these house rules at area sites and your cell phone number so they can text you if there's a problem. The alarm is going off in the middle of the night and they don't know how to turn it off. Or you may want to, some people I know, email the house rules to the people or post them on the site. So it's all very transparent from the beginning. Some people may read your house rules and say, I don't want to rent this property. I want to rent another one where they don't have as many rules. That's your call, and you'll see. You want to get as many stars. You know, we live in the rate everything world. For a while, I was having fun going to restaurants and writing reviews on Yelp each time. And I thought, you know, I'm a writer. I love food. I love to go out and eat. And I thought how clever I was. And then I was pretty critical on one review. And the person wrote me a heartfelt email saying, you know, this is how we make our money. We wish you had just let us know in an email and see if we could correct it. So think about that. You have to pack away your ego if problems arise. If they say, I thought I was getting a much nicer place. But you do want to ask for reviews and heed the criticisms. For example, if, let's say you don't have a full-length mirror and the people were coming because of a nearby wedding and the woman and the man think, oh my goodness, I can't see myself. You can make changes. But it's good to get reviews, and you want to get as many 5-star ones or at least 4-star, because people these days do read the reviews and pay attention. You also are going to want to review guests and offer them constructive feedback. And again, you can be kind. You can say, gee, one of my house rules was asking you to take out the trash to the cans outside, and you didn't empty any single wastebasket. I'd love to have you back, but it'd be nice if you did that. So, you know, you can decide about these things. There are challenges that will come up because not all guests are considerate, honest, and neat. So you need to know how to resolve problems. You can alert the site first as soon as possible. If something really bad happens, let's say 10 ended up coming, and you can tell this by the number of sheets they used or towels. You can take photos. You can contact the guests directly and try to resolve the issue. Maybe you don't return all of their deposit. You can stay in touch with the site till it's resolved. And guests may have problems with your listing. I did rent a place in Italy once, and the picture that was showed this charming small apartment in Milan in the center of town. Well, when we got there, it wasn't quite in the center of town. It wasn't in as good an area as we thought, a little sketchy. But the main gripe we had was that when we walked in, there was really minimal furniture, and it wasn't the furniture in the picture. So it turns out that we thought it was someone's home, which I happen to like better because I like having the personality and some trappings. It turned out to be someone who was doing it as an investment, owned the entire building, was renting out, you know, every apartment, and we had gotten a different apartment, but there were very few places to sit down. We did email the site, showed the pictures, and they did refund our deposit. Now, if you're the best investor, you're not so happy. If you're the renter like we were, you're happy. You're not so happy because you wish you had had a great place to stay, but you're happy that it resolved itself pretty well. Lastly, you're going to want to periodically revisit your listing. You're going to want to think about the price, as I mentioned, seasonal, perhaps raising it or lowering it. You're going to want to update furnishings when you realize, gee, that red throw in that bedroom really isn't going to appeal. or those shades don't really block out the light enough because several guests have commented. When you make changes in the amenities, make changes in your photos as well, and maybe you also want to make a change in your listing. So let me share now that I have actually rented out my own house periodically. I didn't plan to, but someone came to me and said, I would love it. So in my case, I'm not the investor who's done it just to invest. I'm the homeowner who's seen how to get some more money. I don't do it a lot of the time, but I do it periodically. And if I had an extra nice large sum of money, like if Andrea hires me to write a ton more, maybe I might buy up a property and might consider doing it because I've had fun doing it overall. I've had a few people where it's not been so great. Someone was probably drinking a little much and broke a sculpture of mine, which didn't make me very happy, but it worked out in the end. So, may I answer some questions?
Barbara, I know in Nashville that we have a rule here where if you're a A-rated house, which I believe is a home occupied, there's no restriction on having people, well, there's never no. I think in Nashville there's you can only have 3 unrelated people in your house or something like that.
That's not.
But you can have people come in your house, but if you had a house strictly for rentals, it's like 3% per area.
That's only if you own the home, you can have.
Yeah, I think in my wait, can you talk up a little more? It's hard for me to hear your question.
Go ahead, Steve. Say it.
Well, no, you're talking about permits or just investment property, and that's per zip code. In Nashville, it's maximum 50%. They're talking about lowering that.
Yeah, but that's for
if you own a house, you can rent out a room to whoever you want.
Right. That's an A rating. A B rating is a rental property. I think it's A and B. I checked on it today.
If you own it, you can rent a room to whoever you want.
Right.
Would you mind speaking up? I'm sorry.
If you own the house, you can rent a room to whoever you want. If you're renting it, like a separate house, an investment house, it's 3% per zip code here in Nashville.
It really depends. In my community, the village is looking into tightening up the rules, primarily because I think a few people had one house I can think of had these large groups come in, even with a bus, and too many people and noise. We're, as I said, a peaceful little community. And so they're tightening up rules, and they may set some limits on, in each case, as I say, they may have a rule that you can't do it more than 30 days a year. They may have a rule that says you have to be on the premises. It really varies so much by community and city. I know San Francisco is tightened up, New York is tightened up. I'm not sure what's happening in Chicago. But it's changing, and I don't know yet. I mean, none of us know about the tax bill and if there will be any changes because of that affect this kind of property.
Ask Larry a question here. Larry, if I was going to buy a property, a 4-bedroom house, and Airbnb it out, and I know that I can get such and such, I think the average now is like $3,000 for people who have Airbnbs now. Can I use this Airbnb potential even though if I'm an experienced person, I already have 4 other Airbnbs?
No, you're not going to be able to use projected income. You would only be able to rely on your documented income from the past 2 years as displayed in your tax returns.
Okay.
Another thing with the Airbnb, and I'm sure the speaker can speak to this, insurance. You got to make sure your insurance company is aware of what's going on. That can be kind of sticky. I've got a friend who's an investor who leased a rental property to some folks, and then they turned around and turned it into an Airbnb. And his insurance company canceled him right fast when they got wind of it, because that was not the purpose intended. Now, he didn't even know. So he had to rein the whole thing in and restructure. Now, he let them continue to Airbnb the investment property, but he had to find an insurance company that would insure it as such.
Yeah, well, that's why I had that insurance guy in here the other day, because people don't think about it.
Let me just jump in for a second. Before I started, as I mentioned, I called and emailed my insurance person, and he said my insurance covered, I had enough liability. And some of the sites now offer, like VRBO offers good liability when you sign up for their service. I mean, they're taking a cut of your proceeds. Airbnb, VRBO, they're not letting you use their site for nothing. So
double check, make sure you have enough insurance, because what you used to have, now you have a whole different person in there. Condos and HOAs. If you got a condo or an HOA, you better read the docs.
Exactly.
We have a friend of ours who she just lost $3,000 a month or whatever it was, and of course.
Now this is actually a situation where she was making about $2,000 a month, but she's just getting strong-armed by the association. They have not changed the bylaws.
Yeah.
But the president of the HOA does not want it,
Right.
and they're unilaterally telling them that they can't do it. Now, this is in Franklin, and it would be typical. I mean, most associations don't allow it, but particularly in Franklin, and their condominium documents say nothing about not allowing it. So legally, they're permitted, but when the president of the HOA gets Waller Lanston, $300 an hour legal firm to write you letters. What are you going to do?
Yeah, Olga had the same problem.
I'd like to make one point that I didn't make before. Just many of the places that I've seen, because there are there's one company that's come into my town and, as I said, bought up a number of properties and furnished them to rent them out or sell them. And there's definitely a difference in how people furnish, or at least I've seen this online and in person, whether you're a homeowner and you have all your photos out and you're usually not going to pack them up every time someone comes. You may clear out the refrigerator, versus the investor-only property is furnished much more sparsely. And it's just the question of how sparse is too sparse. You want to have a little personality. You don't want to make it so empty that someone feels they're at a motel down the road.
In Orlando, the guy had a big, beautiful house, maybe 4 or 5 bedroom, locks on every door. Had that completely rented out. His mother was living downstairs. She was like the maid. And he built one right behind that specifically for Airbnb and top quality furnishings. As a matter of fact, he rented out, he bought one of those little gazebo things inside the screen room, outside the house, and rented that out for $25 a night. And the guy was living in one of those little covered sofa things that you buy at the big lots. Gazebo, yeah. Yeah,
there's a place, just to put this into perspective, there's a place you can go, like in Ashland City, that is like a hut for $39 a night that somebody probably put on the back of a hill that, is a quote unquote songwriter's cabin. So they're making $1,200 a month.
You get one of those dead
on
shits.
literally $1,000 piece of dirt behind a trailer in Ashland City for the cheapest thing that you could possibly rent as a getaway to get away from your husband, your wife, your family, your kids, write a song, but in other words, a creative twist on whatever you're doing. In my opinion, you never buy a property strictly for the value of a temporary short-term rental, but it is a cash crank. So you can do some intelligent things, you can crank some cash out of it, and that's the vision you should have for it. A lot of people
But you might get caught if like her village over here, everybody, this one guy's buying all these things. The city says no way. All that investment money.
That lot we flipped to Woodland Street. They built a couple.
But in my town, again, they're going to make some determination about auxiliary buildings on the site if they're going to allow that. Some people have more than obviously a shed where
Airbnb before.
And that may not be permitted. So things could change. Things could change in a heartbeat also.
I mean, some people use a car, some people a boat. We had a basket. Lady gave us a basket with coffee and stuff in there.
These guys have a place on Center Hill. That's a great place to do it, but it may not stay occupied all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're in a surrounding county in Nashville, and you find a very inexpensive property, you're not going to have the problems with the governmental agencies. Not Williams might have the problems, but if you go to Robertson, go to Wilson, you go to
the
Tatum,
outside.
exactly.
Now we stayed in Philly, and I said, where can I do a little exercise? And he got me outside, closed the door, and I'm in the North Philly at midnight, and I did a lot of running that night. So you got to watch when you know what they put on the thing about exercise. So anyway, thank you, Barbara. That was terrific. Read her blogs. They're up on our website all the time, and just fabulous stuff. Had something about the granite countertops. It was like one of our biggest hits on Facebook. So anyway, she's up there all the time. Her name and phone number is up there if you want to talk to her. Have her talk for you.
Yeah, please email me if you have more questions, or I'd love to get emails from people for topics to write about.
Yeah, that's right. If you guys want to hear about something, I'm always looking for topics to give to Barbara. She does some excellent research, digging deep into anything you want to find out. So I'm looking for ideas on more speakers. I'm looking for ideas on more blogs and podcasts. And if you have people, interesting speakers and stuff like that, we want them here. We want them talking for us. So, well, I'm about done. I'm going to turn it over to Steve. He'll finish this up. And thank you all for your attention.
Thank you.
And thanks again, Barb.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. All right. It's been a busy week. So, so you guys know my name is Steve Chasen, and I'm one of the original members here at Green. Mark's probably giving you a little bit of an idea about what we do. We're an education company, first of all. So we have these meetings. They're always free and open to the public. There are, out of this group, I'd say about half are actually members. We do some more intense training with our members. So if you want to learn about real estate, you want to invest, you want to get a great deal on your house. You guys actually got a great deal. That's really, I don't know, you might have had some training before. I was talking to
Jeff about that deal earlier, but just your personal residence. You want to have vetted members of the real estate industry that you're dealing with. It's interesting. The largest investment of our lives, we know nothing about it. Nobody teaches us about it in school. Okay, we don't learn anything about financial independence or building wealth in school. They teach you how to be a robot. They want you to jump into the system. Okay, they don't teach you how to be an entrepreneur. They don't teach you how to sell. And so you come to something like this once a week so you can get your mind in that place of being an entrepreneur, or putting yourself in the path of opportunity. We don't do that. And quite frankly, most people, they're tired. They'll sit at home, watch TV, have dinner, and hey, I don't want to do this. And then some people that are looking for something a little bit more are going to go ahead and take that step. They're going to build their professional network. They're going to get out there and do those things. Are looking for something a little bit more. They're going to go. It's pretty fun. Marcus, can you turn that off? My brain doesn't work well with feedback. I'm watching the ball. Left-handed, my ear. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, and I was contemplating a little bit of this today about. I guess I call myself a bit of a cultural anthropologist. I like to look at things and understand how people think and how things work, and find the underlying truths that can help us all get ahead. My mother was a teacher, and I try to think like a teacher and combine that with a little bit of entrepreneurship. And I think about just the mental energy that some of these people are putting into getting deals done and into the real estate, and I can see it. And I've managed this long enough to know that the people that stay with it, that just simply care, are going to be successful. I can look at someone and I can tell, you know what, I can see the desire, and really it's that desire that's going to get you there. It's not necessarily, some people have natural skills. You have some people that are good with numbers or data. You have some people that are good at building relationships and are good at talking. Some people who are empathetic. Some people who are really, really driven. And so they utilize those skill sets. And what I'm seeing in this group, and this is proof in the pudding, as we're building this group here in Nashville, deals are starting to come. And we're seeing some of the people that are connecting with each other, doing deals, building stronger relationships, and that's what it's all about. So anyway, I'll give you just for some, we've got some new faces here, so I just want to give you a little bit of my personal resume and what we are here at Green. I was previously the top RE/MAX agent in the state of Tennessee for 2 years, sold over 280 houses a year. Was RE/MAX Diamond Club multiple years, which means I've made over $1 million in personal commissions as a real estate agent. But I've also bought and flipped hundreds of houses, and I've worked and partnered with other people and made millions of dollars with other people who have made millions of dollars buying and flipping and selling real estate. What we do at Green is basically create a mentor-based relationship where you've got me on a cell phone all the time. And I think the guys that are here can attest to that, and they'll tell you the same thing, that you have basically a consultant. And so we charge $99 a month plus $9.99 to be an independent representative, $109.94. It is a network marketing company, so you can actually earn while you learn. And the philosophy is, instead of us taking $10,000 of your money, like we could if we wanted to put that package together, we'd rather have 10,000 people in the downline and build that connection where we're mentors to the people below us. That's the philosophy behind what we do. We don't try to come in and hard sell you guys every week. But what we're seeing and what's naturally happening is that the people who hear the message and want to be a part of it, that have that natural entrepreneurial curiosity about real estate, they're attracted to this, and that's why we're growing. So if any of you guys are interested in joining, and you haven't joined yet, and you want to get into some of the online training with some of the people that Mark mentioned, Paul
You guys know Paul. He trains once a week with us. And believe it or not, Paul, because he believes in so much of what we do, he will charge you $7,000 a week for one-on-one. But because of the structure that we built this business with, he believes in it. You get him once a week for $99 a month. I guess people that know Paul understand the value of that. And Paul understands the vision of that long term and the reason why it's right to do it that way is it hasn't been done that way before. It's hard to do it that way. If you're a guy that's a multimillionaire like Paul, how do you value your time? Well, ultimately, we can do that in the downline, and that's what we're building here. Like I said, I've been friends with Paul for years. I listed some of his first houses. I've seen some of the trials and tribulations that he's been through, and some of his growth and development as a speaker, working with JT Fox and some of that group, but also as a real estate investor and helping develop other people in the business. He's done exceedingly well. Anyway, as you guys see also, Dr. Andrea Molinari, our Director of Education, he's in West Palm Beach, Florida. And Andrea, I think, Barbara, what town is she in?
Somewhere upstate New York.
Okay, upstate New York. Okay, I wasn't certain what town she was in. So these are actually broadcast online, as we mentioned, and we record and archive this. Any of our members can go in our previous sessions that we've had. You can pull up any of our previous, not only our Nashville meetings, but we do our online training sessions several times a week. So any of the stuff that we've had before, we have these mastermind sessions, question and answers several times weekly. You can pull all of that information. But anyway, if real estate excites you, and if you really want to get serious and make some money with real estate, then we'd love to have you on board with Green. And you can get with whoever invited you here, or Mark, Irene, or myself. We'll get you guys signed up. Mark, you had a question?
Ask Irene, Doc, to tell us who's coming up in the next couple of weeks.
We can ask him. Andrea, who do we have? If you can tell us, who do we have coming up?
Let me think this. Hold on. He does this to me all the time. I think he enjoys doing this.
To be used to it, I would think.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't remember what I had for breakfast. Are you kidding? I have to look at the calendar. We have a calendar. It's on the website. Hold on here. I'll get it. I know we have Eva coming up talking about membership and the marketing campaign. The new marketing campaign for Green that's on the 20th of the month. Next week we have Samuel Dinash, who's going to be talking about asset protection. That's next week. Then the week after that, which is the 20th, that'll be Eva Nightingale, our new Director of Marketing and Membership. And then there's the 3rd of January, we have Tatiana Gan, who's going to be talking about success strategy mindset. And that's just the next month, basically, that we have ahead of us.
Just so you guys know, we open up every Wednesday at 6 o'clock, usually run 6:30 to 7:30. You guys are welcome to stay for about another half hour, mingle, trade business cards, talk shop, ask questions. And if any of you want to sign up, let me know. We can get you signed up. And thanks for coming. See you next week.